Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of human potential. I'm your host, Christine Chen. How much time do you need to meditate? Our guest today developed a system of micro meditations. Loch Kelly is also a psychotherapist who bridges science, data, and the mental mind practices, joining us on Esalen Live today. Hello, Loch. How are you?
Hey, Christine, nice to be here. Nice to see you and to be with everyone else.
Nice to see you. And right away, Frankie Lou Thorne. I love you, Wesleyan. Butterflies, hearts, everything else. Yeah,
That's great.
that's how we hope our mental state is after we do the things
Mm,
that you're gonna talk about a little bit, right?
that's
So
right.
what are
Yes.
micro meditations, Locke? Tell us.
So, micro meditations are a way of shifting our current state of mind out into an already awake, calm, and connected consciousness. So, that's the difference really between this effortless mindfulness and deliberate mindfulness, which most people know as traditional mindfulness, is you don't have to uh, create a state of meditation, that we go from our chattering mind, like trying to clean up a cloud, and shift out of it into the already clear sky that's also within our body, within the cloud of our mind. And we then are mindful from this subtler, wider, big sky embodied awareness.
I see. Okay. So the idea of practicing an intentional mindfulness is different from
Mhm.
what you're talking about, which is just more of an integration. Am I hearing that correctly?
There's still an intentionality. The word effortless isn't that you make no effort, uh, because that would be very effortful to try not to make an effort.
That's
But
true.
it's, it's actually making a small shift and discovering an awareness that's already effortlessly aware. So it's
Hmm.
similar to what people call being in the flow or being in the zone. So when you go for a walk in nature or you do something you love, you enter this effortless flow consciousness. And this kind of meditation can help you intentionally access that immediately rather than trying to do a psychological or a meditative state that you're creating.
Hmm. If you're just watching Esalen Live right now and just joining us, we're with Loch Kelly, who is a psychotherapist bridging science, data, and mind practices with micro meditations and this idea of bringing it into the day in and day out. I want to know in the chat if you're joining us, do you think it's hard to meditate or how do you meditate? Just give us some thoughts about your meditation practice so we can involve you in this discussion. It begins sometimes, I hear, from awakening. From what I'm hearing from you, that the first part of it is just awakening yourself to this place. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Or can you explain what
Yes.
it means? Because people have different ideas of what awakening is. It
That's
could
right.
just be
Yes.
like, could
So
just be like getting up in the morning, you know.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I, you know, that I looked on one of the apps and it said waking up practices, and I thought, oh, great, they're doing these advanced practices. But then I looked at it and it said, oh, practices when you wake up in the morning. So that was the understanding of awakening, and that's the common understanding. But I would say that in many traditions, awakening is the goal, or it's sometimes called enlightenment or true nature, or being relieved of suffering at the existential essential level. But this practice, we also start with a kind of small awakening, which is awakening from the small little sense of I think, therefore I am, into a kind of open mind and open heart. And then we feel this kind of embodied dropping from head to heart space. So there's a feeling of this open hearted awareness that feels connected to everyone and everything. So this is a sense that's in some ways energetic, in some ways psychological, but primarily the main unique thing is that there's a type of awareness prior to thought that's been called awake awareness or pure consciousness that is available to everyone. And when you access this and then don't stay there in kind of a zoned out way, but begin to be mindful from there in an embodied, interconnected way, then you enter flow consciousness, which feels like the optimal functioning. So you actually are able to do it with eyes open in the midst of your day.
Is that more aligned with effortless mindfulness?
Yes. So effortless mindfulness, again, is not that you make no effort, but that we're mindful from this effortless awareness that is our natural, already installed consciousness. And so discovering this or uncovering this is, is what's been called the ultimate medicine in many cultures because it relieves us of this small conflictual parts based psychology where we think we're a small ego that lives in the middle of our head, looking out of our eyes, trying to be safe and solve problems outside and inside. And once we open to this bigger capacity, then there's a kind of not only awareness, but a kind of fabric of love that feels very embracing and is able to be with those traumatic parts of us and those judging parts of us in a way that we're able to heal them and relieve them. So being mindful from this greater loving, open hearted awareness, which is effortlessly already here, is what's known as effortless mindfulness.
Hmm. And the title of this particular segment is Micromeditations for a Wise
Yes.
Heart. And as you bring up the energy of the heart space and how we can
Mm-hmm.
live from this place,
Yeah.
what's the relationship between this practice and developing the wisdom of the heart?
Yeah. So that's the goal. One of the keys is that this kind of direct practice tradition of shifting out of the small self that many people stop halfway. So waking up from the small self or the ego into don't know mind or big sky witness or pure awareness, you can stop in a kind of a detached spiritual bypass. And that's what I call getting caught in the witness protection program.
Hmm.
So you end up in this kind of I am no longer have no problems because I am this pure awareness. But that's really just halfway. Once you discover that pure awareness, you realize, oh, it's not just outside, but it's inside. It's not just pure awareness, but it's arising as energy and as form and matter and as feelings. And so there becomes this embodied um, field of what relieves suffering and releases these natural positive qualities and the sense of relief from kind of grasping and fighting, fight, flight, or freeze to this well being feels like there's kind of a natural loving kindness rather than having to um, imagine loving kindness.
I've heard, I like that you are breaking this down in such a granular way because that
Mhm.
point that you talked about, the midpoint about where you're like, oh, I'm meditating, I have no problems, it's all good, that you've identified this place as like, that's not all there is, and that
Yeah.
to go beyond that is where we say where the magic happens, but it's also where the complications get more layered from what I understand and from what I've actually experienced in my own practice where it gets almost harder, but more dynamic and more layered in such a really beautiful, rich way. When you go to this place where this hard place where you want to stop because it feels good, but then you keep going. I,
Mhm.
I don't even know why I said that, but I just want to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts about that.
Well, thank you for sharing that experience. It's very visceral. So I get that.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, and I hear that a lot. So it really is about a kind of a simple but full map of a kind of not just calming the system with, watching your breath, not just stepping out into a mindful witness and watching, oh, I'm not a solid self, I'm just thoughts that come and go, not just opening to even a bigger pure awareness or witness consciousness. Or I think what you're talking about is some people get caught in what's called subtle energy as well. So there you can find either pure awareness, which is more head or mind oriented, and then others drop and find this kind of energetic bliss. They get blissed in or spaced out, or the two main traps. So the key is to open to the subtlest dimension, which is both whether you go within or open out. You discover then that you can remain open and then begin to include all the multidimensional layers of energy and feeling and thought and sensation without going either or. So most people will go, oh, I've meditated, I'm a little calmer, so I'll just go back to work, and then click, they're back in the small self that becomes more and more anxious the more time you're away from meditation. What this is saying, there's another operating system that we know from people who do things from flow consciousness, like play music and play, very difficult, um, optimal things from a place where the ego drops away, where there's a sense of kind of being in the timeless now, where there's a sense of being connected to everyone and everything around you. And the sense is that is actually a natural next stage of development that's possible for all of us.
Hmm, hmm. If this is resonating with you, this is so interesting. I know for my personal practice, give Locke a thumbs up. This is really just such deep work that we're doing in such a short time, and just encouraging him for his time and sharing all of this with us. Would you mind sharing a micro meditation with us?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
let you
I
take
can
it away.
do. Yeah. So, yeah, I could do a couple. Let me do. Let me do this one since I kind of mentioned it, um, which is that we're not trying to escape problems, but that the problem solver, remaining as this small, thought based, even organized, smart, well developed, self, is actually the highest limit of where we can think we're going to develop. What if we could let that problem solver relax and open to this other dimension of felt sense, awareness based knowing that can then solve problems from a different dimension? So I'm going to do this short little micro meditation, which is a kind of inquiry. And I'm going to ask you this inquiry, which is very simple. And then I would like you just to see if you can understand it with your mind, and then open with awareness to feel or sense or look to see what's here. And then we'll kind of go step by step. So here's the inquiry: what's here now when there's no problem to solve? So just understanding the words, and then let the problem solver relax and feel a kind of alert awareness that's just ordinary, that you're aware of. Yeah, what's here now? What's this that's here when there's no problem to solve? And then what's it like to be aware of it? And then what's it like to rest as this alert awareness? And then what's it like as this alert, spacious, and pervasive awareness to remain open, but begin to include vibration, energy, thoughts, emotions, your body, and the world? What do you notice if you just kind of rest back to the effortless awareness and then be mindful and embodied from here without needing to create a small self, without going to thought to know, and without going to sleep to rest? Just alert, embodied, and notice where you're aware from
Hmm.
and what natural qualities arise.
And that was all of a minute, right? A minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you at home have tried this with us in this moment. I noticed that I don't know if there's any right or wrong answer, and I'm guessing no right or wrong answer, but just inquiry. I noticed right
Mm-hmm.
away my voice dropped, right?
Mm.
I
Yeah.
noticed, yeah, I first breath, that was the first thing, is I noticed my breath right away. But I've
Mm-hmm.
also been meditating a bit. This isn't my first time, but I did notice some new things. I noticed that my feet are cold, but my hands are hot.
Mm.
That's not ever happened to me before.
Okay.
But I
All
don't
right.
know. I mean, this is a natural course of action to say, like, well, what does that mean, right? And that's not the
Yeah.
point of this. I
No.
want to like call that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of it is that what it does is when you open from this one point of view, which is going to your hands, going to your feet, when you open to this field of awareness, you can feel your hands and your feet at the same time because you're aware from this field of open awareness. So it's like, and they can be different
Mhm.
without without multitasking
Yeah.
and going back and forth. It's like all at once.
I feel like this type of meditation is so needed right now, this
Mhm.
system of micro meditations where we can try to make ourselves or not make ourselves, invite ourselves to just do better, especially with us as a society right now with everything that's going on in the world. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing is that we have so much stress, both from external environment and certainly from the pandemic, having been isolated from human contact and other people and just not knowing what's next. And then, of course, other events in the world that our bodies are very stressed. And we can treat the stress that way, but it almost the crisis is almost an opportunity to look at who is this all occurring to. So the sense that the root problem is operating from too small a sense of self. And that if you have stress, but it appears to this larger, subtler, embodied, open hearted presence, you're still going to feel it, but you're not going to hold it as much. And then you're going to be more creative and related and more able to respond to other people rather than react.
Hmm. Taking a deep breath and just taking that all in. We've been with Loch Kelly today on Esalen Live, whose workshop, Effortless, Mindfulness, Embodied, everything we've been talking about, awakening glimpse by glimpse, May 1st through 6th is almost sold out. There might be like a sleeping bag space, another room there. Just so if you want to go check this out, really dive in a little deeper than we have been able to do in just these few minutes, go ahead and just rush to sign up. And then Locke also has another resource for you if this is something that you want to study a little bit more. Tell us about it, Locke.
Yeah. So what I decided to do is create an opportunity to have all these small glimpses in one place, and both to have a ability to hear daily glimpses, new ones each day, and then to have more in-depth courses and even create opportunity for small groups of community to learn together. So if you go to my website, you'll see this new kind of mobile meditation platform.
Oh, we love it. An app.
Yeah,
Did we ever think that we would have apps for meditation like 15 years ago, you know?
no way.
Yeah, I know, right? Things change, we
Yeah,
change. I mean, that's the whole thing, transformation, right? Loch Kelly,
yes.
thanks for joining us on Esalen Live. Everybody, thanks for being with us. Glad you practiced with us. Go micro meditate. Just try, maybe little by little, glimpse by glimpse, get to know ourselves a little bit better. Have a great day, everyone.